Good day, good people. Okay, so Christianity is centered around one thing and one thing only. If this one thing doesn't happen, then there's no Christianity, and that's the virgin's birth. So, what I'm gonna do is just read Isaiah 7 through 8 for those who have not read it for themselves. And without you going and getting a translation of what somebody else is telling you to think. Listen to it or go read it for yourself and come up with your own conclusion of what it's saying. Because, first of all, a study Bible is nothing but somebody else's interpretation, pretty much telling you what to think of it. And those study Bibles were created during the same time that the Bible pretty much was being created. And so, I mean, in order for you to understand it, they telling you what to think or whatever. So you have to ask yourself, if the Bible itself is supposed to be the Word of God, who did He ordain to translate it to tell you how to read it? I mean, because had you just got the book by itself, trust me, you would read it just how you read any other book at school, and you wouldn't get the same thing that you're being told to get. And then for the people who say this is one book, of course it's not. Come on, they say Moses written the Torah, which is just the first five books of the Old Testament. The first five books. So even from there, you have to wonder where the rest of it come from. Where the rest of everything come from? Because it's crazy that he sealed this book up, but all of a sudden it was broken open for the extra however many so chapters to be written, and then not to mention the Apocrypha, which is in 1611, and then the other commentary that's in the 1611, which is the Bible for the King James that you have. The Apocrypha tell you a whole lot of other stuff. And so, I mean, I know a lot of people don't get into all that extra stuff. You only know what you've been given or what we've been given over generations and stuff like that. So everything's been passed down to us. I mean, and there's evidence that, like, during the whole conquering and slavery, that they set up Christian schools. And Columbus himself, even though he never came to North America, he came hoping that the people would accept Jesus Christ. And that tells you there are the people that were here already. They knew nothing about Jesus Christ. And then with all these different religions, what makes you think that Christianity is just the right one? I mean, uh, I keep telling people I understand. I understand the unknown. I mean, like stuff that happened, people surviving this and surviving that, or their lives flashing before their eyes and things like that. I mean, me personally, I know consciousness has a whole lot to do with that. It has a whole lot to do with it. But I understand. People need it for their purposes. They need God, Jesus, Buddha, Allah, or whatever for all the reasons you can't explain. But once again, I mean, just like I named those people, there's many more that other cultures and people use to explain their unknown. But the unknown happens to damn near everybody, every different culture, every different race. But we so quick to say this is right. There's no guarantee or no such thing as this being right. And the reason why I say that is because if anybody on here can tell me that they've actually seen Jesus besides in some kind of vision or your personal, once again, uh, imagination of what you consider Jesus to be. I mean, because everything comes like in a form of an image or something like that. So whatever image you have, that's what you're gonna get. Somebody from a different religion, that's the image they get of whatever they believe, Allah, Buddha, or whoever to be. And so, I mean, with that being said, the reason why I come at Christianity is because this is where I grew up at. And with me growing up here, this is really all I know. Even though, like, when we was younger, me and my brother stayed with my uncle. We went to actual Muslim school for a little while. We was going to the masjid with him, and so we were actually up under both Islam and Christianity at the same time. But that's when we was younger. We really knew nothing about any of what was going on. We just knew we had to go and participate because we were told that we had to by who we were with at the time. And so, I mean, like where I'm at now today, as a 42-year-old man, I've read, and based on what I learned in school and from what I've read, I mean, I don't get the same thing that everybody else see. And I'm not saying you wrong for wanting to follow it or anything like that, but I mean, like everybody trying to get somewhere supposedly in the afterlife, and what if you're wrong? I mean, you're gonna feel good about being wrong. Yeah, I mean, some of y'all gonna say yeah, but I mean, y'all, you looking for some type of afterlife. Every religion offer a different afterlife. And I mean, all you have to do is just, I mean, you don't even have to do a whole lot of research for that. All you have to do is, I mean, you can go Google and it'll tell you all the afterlives and things like that. They're totally different from everybody else's. Now, as far as this book in Christianity, this one book, it has so many different religions to it. So many different religions to it. First of all, I mean, you starting in the Old Testament, you got Judaism, and then you have the Hebrews and the Hebrew Israelites, and then you have the Hebrews who don't believe in Jesus, and you have the ones who do believe in Jesus. And most of the Jews now, if you go to different sites and do some research on them, they don't believe in Jesus. And then what I'm gonna read to you about this Isaiah 7:14, the virgin birth. This is the reason why, because they say the translation from Hebrew to uh, English or our other languages is totally different than what it means. They say there's a alma, which is just a woman of childbearing age. And so I'm gonna go ahead on and get into this and read it real fast. I mean, I'm gonna at some point. I mean, I'm gonna try and read it regular instead of like putting emphasis on it. But just pay attention to uh, the story. The story is what you want to listen to, and you can make your own assumption based on the story. Because if you go to a study Bible, that's somebody else's assumption. That the study Bible was not proven to be translated in up under the Word of God. It's supposed to be the Scriptures, which are the Word of God, and those who He came to. And then in the New Testament, God never speaks, never, not one time. God does not speak at all. And so when it comes to personal relationships, as far as that goes, I mean, like, if I were to believe in it, is I would take the Old Testament for the simple fact that their relationship is directly with God, and not some offspring of a offspring or something like that. It is directly God. But here, let me give y'all Isaiah 7 through 8. And it came to pass in the days of Ahaz the son of Jotham, the son of Uzziah, king of Judah, that Rezin, the king of Syria, and Pekah, the son of Remallah, king of Israel, went up towards Jerusalem to war against it, but could not prevail against it. And it was told the house of David, saying, Syria is confederate with Ephraim, meaning they joined together, and his heart was moved, and the heart of his people as the trees of the wood are moved with the wind. Then said the Lord unto Isaiah, Go forth now, meet with Ahaz, thou and Jashu, thy son, at the end of the conduit of the upper pool in the highway of the fuller's field, and say unto him, Take heed and be quiet, fear not, neither faint hearted, for the two tails of the head of those smoking firebrands, for the fierce anger of Rezin with Syria and the sons of Remallah, because Syria, Ephraim, and the son of Remallah have taken evil counsel against thee, saying, Let us go up against Judah and vex it, and let us make a breach therein for us, and set a king in the midst of it, even the son of Tobiah. Thus said the Lord God, It shall not stand, neither shall it come to pass. For the head of Syria is Damascus, and the head of Damascus is Rezin, and within 65 years shall Ephraim be broken, that it be not a people. And the head of Ephraim is Samaria, and the head of Samaria is Remaliah's son. If ye will not believe, surely you shall not be established. Moreover, the Lord spake again unto Ahaz, saying, Ask thee a sign of the Lord thy God. Ask it either in the depth or in the height above. But Ahaz said, I will not ask, neither will I tempt the Lord. And he said, Hear ye now, O house of David. It is a small thing for you to worry men, but will you worry my God also? Therefore the Lord himself shall give you a sign. Behold, a virgin shall conceive and bear a son, and shall call his name Emmanuel. Butter and honey shall he eat, that he may know to refuse the evil and choose the good. For before the child shall know to refuse the evil and choose the good, the land that thou abhorrest shall be forsaken of both her kings. The Lord shall bring upon thee and upon thy people and upon thy father's house days that have not come, from the day that Ephraim departed from Judah, even the king of Assyria. And it shall come to pass in that day that the Lord shall hiss for the fly that is in the uttermost parts of the rivers of Egypt, and for the bee that is in the land of Assyria. And they shall come and shall rest all of them in the desolate valleys and in the holes of the rocks and upon all thorns and upon all bushes. And that's in the same day shall the Lord shave with a razor that is hired, namely, by them beyond the river, by the king of Assyria, the head and the hair of the feet, and all shall also consume the beard. And it shall come to pass in that day that a man shall nourish a young cow and 2 sheep. And it shall come to pass for the abundance of milk that they shall give, he shall eat butter, for butter and honey shall everyone eat that's left in the land. And it shall come to pass in that day that every place shall be where there were 1,000 vines and 1,000 silverling, it shall even be for briars and thorns. With arrows, with bows shall men come thither, because all the land shall become briars and thorns, and on all hills that shall be digged with the mattock, there shall not come thither the fear or briars and thorns, but it shall be for the sending forth the oxen and for the treading of lesser cattle. All right, Isaiah 8. Moreover, the Lord said unto me, still talking about, this is Isaiah. Moreover, the Lord said unto me, Take thee a great roll, and write in it with a men's pen concerning Maher-shalal-hash-baz. And I took unto me faithful witness to record Uriah the priest and Zechariah the son of Zeruiah. And I went unto the prophetess, and she conceived and bare a son. Then said the Lord to me, call his name Maher-shalal-hash-baz. For before the child have knowledge to cry, my father and my mother and the riches of Damascus and the spoils of Samaria shall be taken away before the king of Assyria. The Lord spake also unto me again, saying, for as much as this people refuseth the waters of Shiloh that go softly and rejoice in Rezin and Ramallah's son, now therefore behold, the Lord bringeth up upon them the waters of the river, strong and many, even in the king of Assyria in all of his glory, and he shall come up over all his channels and go over all his banks. He just flooded pretty much the land there. All right. And he shall pass through Judah. He shall overflow and go over. He shall reach even to the neck, and the stretching out of his wings shall fill the breadth of thy land, O Emmanuel. Associate yourself, O ye people, and ye shall be broken in pieces, and give ear, all ye of far countries, gird yourselves, and ye shall be broken in pieces, gird yourselves, and ye shall be broken in pieces. Take counsel together, and it shall come not. Speak the word, and it shall not stand, for God is with us. For the Lord spake this thus to me with a strong hand, instructed me that I should not walk in the way of this people, saying, say ye not a confederacy to all of them to whom this people say a confederacy, neither fear ye their fear, not be afraid. Sanctify the Lord of hosts himself, and let him be your fear, and let him be your dread. And he shall be a sanctuary before a stone of stumbling, and for a rock of offense to both the house of Israel, for a gin and for a snare to the inhabitants of Jerusalem. And many among them shall stumble and fall and be broken and snared and be taken. Bind up testimony, seal the law among my disciplines. Among my disciples. And I will wait upon the Lord that hideth his face from the house of Jacob, and I will look for him. Behold, I and the children whom the Lord hath given me are for signs and wonders in Israel, for the Lord of hosts, which dwelleth in Mount Zion. And when they shall say unto you, seek unto them that have familiar spirits, and unto wizards that peep and that mutter, should not a people seek unto their God? It's a question. For the living to the dead, to the law and to the testimony, if they speak not according to this word, it is because there is no light in them, and they shall pass through it, hardly be stead and hungry. And it shall come to pass that when they shall be hungry, they shall fret themselves, and curse their king and their God, and look upward. And they shall look unto the earth, and behold trouble, darkness, dimness, and anguish, and they shall be driven to darkness. Now, that's Isaiah 7 and 8, all pertaining to the virgin birth. Now, according to this, Isaiah just said that all the signs were for him and the kids that were born to him. Where is this talking about a Joseph and a Mary, or people who saying that the virgin birth, is Isaiah the spirit that went into her and got her pregnant? No, Isaiah actually had sex with a real woman, and she became pregnant, and his kids were the signs of everything that was gonna come and happen, so that Assyria and Ephraim wouldn't come together to destroy Judah, and Israel. And okay, I'll just go into nine. I mean, well, no, I mean, you can even go on and go into nine because it's pretty much a continuation of the story. Now, when you look at it, the child that he went and got that was tending to the sheep and all that kind of stuff. Everybody know that was David, King David. But like I said, go back and read this for yourself and see if that's what you're getting. I mean, because I can almost guarantee you that you're not getting what you're told to get. You're getting that the child born was for the sign of the times of everything that was going to happen going forward from there. And so you would have to say that either that was Jesus born then, but then too, um, we know that didn't happen. And then when you start looking at the New Testament, you really have to ask yourself, with all the misspellings of the names and the changing of the names, what's going on? And if you know the history of it, the supposedly 70 or 72 elders from the Hebrew nation supposedly translated the Old Testament for the Greeks. And then after that, the Greeks wrote the New Testament. By no chance is this one complete book. This is several different books, as I stated. Moses wrote the Torah, the first five books. Then Joshua took over after him. But I mean, if you start out with just the first five books, the Torah, I mean, and the book was sealed. I mean, the seal had to be broken, and somebody wrote the rest of the stuff. And then all the all of the all the prophets, Isaiah, Jeremiah, Ezekiel, all of those are different books. This is not one book. No matter how much anybody trying to tell you that it's not one book. And then we all know that the New Testament was written up to 20 years or so after Jesus died. I mean, so I mean that's crazy within itself. I mean, like me personally, I believe this is a fairy tale from the Old Testament that was made much bigger. It's just like Popeye eating spinach. He got much bigger after he ate the spinach. So somebody ate the spinach of the from the Old Testament, and they created a much bigger fairy tale because all it is, I mean, even with God and him being with the people, I mean, you don't really hear about him casting out demons and things like that because he didn't have to, because he said, anything that happened, it was him who did it. And so therefore all the miracles, you start seeing this explicitive and explosive shit going on in the New Testament. And if you really read it, trust me when I say plagiarism is real. I mean, word for word, verse for verse, copied from here to there. And then all you have to do is go to 1 Chronicles 3 and go to Matthew 1 and start at the bloodline. And the bloodline gonna start going off. It's gonna start naming people that didn't exist, and then go to the one in Luke. It tells you Joseph, and people trying to tell you, nah, that's Mary's. Nah, I mean, why would the hell would it even say Joseph? I mean, see the confusion right there, man. All I'm saying is, go and read for yourselves. The people who have actually read and seen the book for what it's worth, they trust me. They have many videos on YouTube of people telling why I left Christianity, and the main reason is them reading Isaiah 7. The main reason. And then all the extra shit that all that shit that they put into the New Testament, that it was like, hey, this was meant for somebody else in the Old Testament. But if it wasn't for that study Bible, I mean, when you go back and you get these precepts, you would see exactly what I'm saying. That like, nah, this don't go with this. This was talking about this person, or this was talking about that person, and everybody want to say, okay, it means this to refer to Jesus. How? It doesn't. I mean, you can't say you did something and um, or somebody can't say that so and so was great. He did this, he did that, and then down the line they say the shit was meant for his brother or something like that. No, that was what that person done. It wasn't meant for somebody else. It was what that person done. And trust me, if you read, even Jesus tell you that he only came for the lost sheep of Israel. And then for the people who believe there's only going to be 144,000 saved, that's two. In Revelation 7 and 4, that is from the 12 tribes of Israel, 1,200 from each tribe. So, I mean, where does all this include other people into it? And it tells you, even if that God said, I did not deal with any other nation, or any other nation have not known me. Come on, I mean, we trying to make things work that does not really work for us. I mean, and again, I ain't telling you that you shouldn't follow some of the stuff they're saying there, because this book, trust me, is good for it's good for morale, ethics, and things like that. But as far as the things that it's telling you gonna happen and stuff like that, it's not. The world is continuous. It's been continuous now. They say well past million years, and this book is only we know from Jesus 2050 years. Where was he at the other million years? You have to ask yourself stuff like that, man. The world has been gone, but these books have only existed for so long. And then when you go back to Genesis, where he create, well, Genesis 1, where people are created, he tells them to go and replenish. How can you replenish something that never was? There's no replenishing a beginning. There's no replenishing to a beginning. The beginning is a start. This is where you go ahead and start making stuff happen. But you cannot replenish something that never was. I mean, if I never had in my life before uh, candy, and I get some for the first time, that's not replenishing it, because I never had it before. That'll be my first time having candy. So you can't, now after I eat the candy, I can replenish it by going buying more. So I mean, I figure everybody understand or know what replenish means. So, and then let me get into spirituality real fast versus religion. Spirituality is definitely something personal within you, your own personal relationship of trying to either be one with the universe, one with God, or whatever. But once you start following a religion, it's no longer your personal this, your personal that. You're following a set of guidelines based on whatever religion that is. I mean, with Christianity, we know we have the commandments or whatever, and with the Egyptians or whatever, you got Ma'at, whatever the book of Ma'at or whatever, with all the rules and all that kind of stuff. So you're following that, and then with Islam, you're following whatever they have. With Buddhism, you're following whatever rules they have set for you. And so it's no longer just a personal relationship. I mean, like, it's a group of y'all trying, I mean, pretty much you can, I mean, you don't ain't necessarily just call it a cult, but it is similar to a cult, because you're following the same guidelines to try and get to the same outcome or whatever. It's no longer personal once you add a religion to it, because there's too many different religions for it to, and a whole bunch of different people join to each religion for it to just be like personal to you. It's no longer personal to you. Everybody else believe in this same shit. So y'all, it's really no more just spirituality, which is personal, your personal relationship or whatever, because you are following those guidelines, or you're trying to follow those guidelines in order for you to get to heaven, or whatever else you want to believe in. So when people come talking about this is about spirituality and stuff like that, no, not if you're talking about Christianity. You're not talking about spirituality. You're talking about following a religion. Is not your spirituality and you praying and meditating, trying to become one with God and one with the universe and one with yourself and stuff like that. You're following just the same as other people, a set guidelines of things that has nothing to do really with spirituality. Even though they put spirituality onto it, it's no longer personal. So, but like I said, man, I want y'all to go back to Isaiah 7, read it, and the virgin birth is what Christianity is dependent upon. And you're not gonna get Mary and Joseph, because Isaiah just told you that his kids were for the sign of things to come and the way things should be. So I mean, I can go on and tell you that, like, yeah, I believe the New Testament was written pretty much for that form of control, based off um a group of people who, in the Old Testament, I believe that they was robbed of their land, of their culture, and different things like that. Because um, let's just look at every time that they went into Egypt. Every time they went into Egypt, Abraham went and he said, he told his wife to say that you're my sister, because if you don't, then they're gonna want to kill me and take you for themselves or whatever. So when he get there, they take her, and she say, okay, this is my brother, so they don't kill him. Then all of a sudden, God come to them in a vision, and it's like, what have you done? Here, take her and leave. But here we go. Take some gold, take some silver, take some cattle, take my lovely garments and stuff like that. Why? Why would I give you all of this after you done came and you done lied to me and stuff like that? I would tell you to take your wife, and y'all could tell y'all ass, I'm not giving you my gold, my silver, nor my cattle, because of the lie that you told. And this happened two, three times, the exact same fashion. Exact same fashion. Abraham went to somewhere else and it happened, and then here you come with Jacob, who goes into Egypt and he does the same thing. And then let's go with Joseph, who went into Egypt and became pretty much the head of everything. And I mean, the Pharaoh put him in charge of everything. After all this stuff and stuff like that, just because they say he's a just man, they could have just let his ass out of prison and go back to his family after they done sold him there to him. But it's telling you that, okay, they done put him over everything, and then he called his family down there, and due to a great famine and all that kind of stuff, so he got to feed the people of the land, because I guess he the only one who know how to garden, or who know how to store food and stuff like that. And so here it is now that Joseph is over all the possessions of the land. And he's not even Egyptian. He was sold to them as a goddamn slave, as a prisoner. Come on, think about that. And then the last time, here you go with Moses. First of all, they was killing all the firstborns, and then the Pharaoh's sister found Moses in a goddamn basket, in the water, took him, raised him in the Pharaoh's house, who was caught killing all the goddamn kids. How did you not know that your sister didn't have a goddamn baby? How did you not know that this that this Hebrew child was not an Egyptian child who grew up among you? How did you not know this? And then all of a sudden, here he come, and just to show you how he did not appreciate, because God told him like, "Oh, them your people, them not your people." First of all, if even in adopted families, until you tell that child that, "Hey, I'm not your mother or your father," unless it's children of different races, that child gonna grow up believing that the siblings in the house are theirs, and that you are the real mother or the father of the child. Especially if you can't tell the difference in how they look, when everything is so similar between them and everybody else in the house. But then, okay, here he come, he go, and then God come, he kill everybody, all the firstborns of the pharaohs and stuff like that. And then here we go again with this robbery shit. He tell them, take from them golds and silver earrings and cattle. And I don't understand how they took cattle, for the simple fact that in one of the tricks, or one of the magic shits that they was doing, they killed all of the cattle of the Egyptians, killed them all. But they were able to take them and shit like that when they left. How? I mean, see, and that's the part of the books, people. I mean, like, you're not gonna look at, and all that kind of shit. But I mean, therefore, come on, man. To me, that's a robbery, like 4 times of the people, their culture, their resources, and everything. And once I started looking at it from that view, and then not knowing that there was nowhere in hell Noah had a black son, a white son, and a Chinese son. I mean, you just got to start looking at shit differently, and man, that's what I did. And I just started seeing, like, I see the Old Testament as a history of people being conquered. And then I see the New Testament being a form of control. I mean, where in the Old Testament, God was fighting for the people. In the New Testament, God has turned the other cheek. So you go from a rebellious fighting God to a God that's saying, "Don't fight back." Be, try and get along with everybody, do as your masters are telling you to do and stuff like that. I mean, you really have to look at that, because it's not talking like that in the Old Testament. I mean, he's sitting down killing people and everything. It ain't no do as you told. If somebody did something to him, they said God was fighting with them to get rid of them goddamn people. And so, I mean, you gotta look at the differences, the breakdowns and stuff like that. And then too, look what happened to black people. You know what I'm saying? When you came in, slavery and stuff like that, you given the book, you're no longer fighting to try and get out of your captivity, but you are hoping that you are saved from it, from some God or whatever. And I guess you would have to call Abraham Lincoln God. I mean, he was like, come on, man. And and I ain't trying to say this the white man's book and stuff like this, because I think white people who follow this shit is just as dumb as black people, for the simple fact that it doesn't really apply to you. In a whole lot of aspects of the book, it does not apply to white people at all. And then, like they say, you look at the rich people. Are they following any of this? They're getting their heaven on earth, while we are praying that it happened to us after we die. Stupid. But again, go, I read Isaiah 7 to you, but go ahead, check it out for yourself and see if that's what you get. And then read the Old Testament, because if you don't know the Old Testament, the new sounds good. to you based off of what the pastor is preaching to you, off of the scriptures that you're getting. But all of those scriptures and everything revert back to the old. But the one thing I could tell you, if you really read the old, it don't revert to the new, except of them taken from it. And people tell you all the similarities are there. Of course it is. If I do a part one, the similarities should be there in part two. Just plain and simple. There's no continuation if there's no similarities. And so all I'm saying is read for yourself. My thing is I don't care what you believe in and stuff like that, but I mean religion and all that shit, it takes away from your common sense, man. And then, with consciousness, man, we all know right from wrong and all that. You don't need nobody else. You don't need no scare tactics like you're going to hell and all that kind of stuff. And that's another thing. Like everybody believe in their religion and all that kind of stuff. They're going to tell you, what's going to happen to you if you don't do this and you don't do that. But that's for every religion. If you don't do this or you don't do that, this or that is going to happen. So all of that is just, you don't need scary tactics to live, man. You see what's going on around you every day. You have consciousness, and we are what you can, an intelligent design. We get smarter as the day goes. You learn and everything like that. You don't, the creator gave us all of that. It's just plain and simple. I don't think the creator is going to interfere with us or nothing. He built us on intelligent design so that we do have survival skills to live. And with everything else, with the whole conquering, the people who set the system up, shit, they set it up real good. It's not in favor of everybody, based on wealth. Man, money controls the world. So, go back and read. Go back and read. And all these people who you see talking about, I'm telling you the book about this and I'm telling you about that, they ain't read. Trust me, when I say they have not read, they ain't read at all. They probably went to church and goddamn pastored and told them this and told them that, and they do their Bible study based off of this and off of that. Even the people who read, they can come back and tell you this or tell you that. Once they read the shit, they stuck in confusion. But they also had a study Bible that's telling them, nah, this is how you should see it. And then they go based off of their study Bible. They rather not listen to somebody like me who had the same goddamn comprehension as them, but somebody else who wrote a study Bible is telling you this is how you should think. And of course I did use other sources and things like that once but I read first and I wasn't getting it. And so I started looking into other sources and stuff like that. So what you're saying, well, you use other sources, yeah, it's because I wasn't getting what you was getting. Even I wasn't getting what the shit was saying in the study Bible, man. Like if you go down and read the study Bible from Isaiah 7 and what it's saying, it's almost telling you that Isaiah had Jesus. You have to just put some common sense onto it. Get some better understanding, man. And just be, find righteousness and things like that within yourself. Go spiritual. Get out of the religion, because the religion is divisive. It separates us all. And I don't even have no reason to lie about the separation, man. The way people treat each other. You know what I'm saying? Even within the family. Man, if your beliefs ain't the same as other people, man, it tears families apart. And why should you have to sit up and believe what they believe just for them to love you? That's the dumbest shit ever. I love everybody in my family, my brothers and sisters. They call me, I'm gonna come, and everything else like that. But I do not believe what they believe anymore. And my life is still good, man. And I don't have no reason to lie about this. My life is good. My children are good. Everything is not perfect, but I stopped praying. Nothing changed for me. I'm still living good. I'm in pretty good health. So, I just took the scare tactics away from, pretty much away from my life, to the point where, if something happened, then it's just like, oh well, you know what I'm saying? I'm like, I don't fear that, like, if I make a mistake, that shit, I'm gonna go to hell, something gonna happen to me. No, I don't fear that shit no more. And even, in the church, man, I went to a wake, and they're singing, everybody crying and stuff like that, and they're singing the songs about God. I mean, like, I don't feel that no more. I mean, like, that feeling of something coming over me, but out of guilt and all that kind of stuff. I don't feel it anymore when it comes to the whole preaching thing. I used to, when I believed that if I didn't do this or if I didn't do that, that this shit, something would happen. I no longer have that feeling. And I know I just been going on and on, but I gave y'all the basis of Christianity is based on the virgin birth. Because if you can take away the virgin birth, that's the end of Christ completely. The end of Christ completely. Then all you have left is the Old Testament to really go off of. And then you read the stories of the Old Testament, and for me, like I said, it just seemed like a history. And then as far as like some of the stuff, like God all willing and knowing, he wasn't. As far as him, I mean, come on, if some chariots of iron stopped him from fighting with the people, or he couldn't fight with the people, then he can't do everything. And so I mean, like, it's a hellified fairy tale, man, and it has good um, morality and things like that to it, man. And so go back and read for yourself, man. Don't go to church giving these people all your money to do something you can do for yourself and get an understanding. Because if you had good reading comprehension in school, trust me, what you reading and you comprehending is exactly what it is. It ain't nothing all of this where everybody else is telling you that it stands for the simple fact that somebody told them to already think that in the first place. But it wasn't the God or the Jesus who was telling them to think that. Like I said, Jesus refutes everything that you believing in. I mean, as far as like, who is this people? I mean, who this Bible is for? He tell you, he didn't want to heal a woman, because he said he didn't come for everybody else. He only came for Israel. So if you're not claiming the 12 tribes of Israel, this book is definitely not about you. It's not. I'm sorry, and that's just what it is. Go and read for yourself. Other than that, I mean, like, man, hey, don't judge me on, what I'm saying, my beliefs or whatever. For the people that's devout Christians, I mean, it's a couple of people who could tell you, I mean, nah, man, say that he a good dude from what I understand. And there are people who tell you, like, from some of the things I did to him or whatever, however they feel about me, that I'm not a good dude. And that has nothing to do with my beliefs. Just plain and simple. I mean, but we are all like that, and it's this life circle. Pretty much bottom line. Y'all have a good one.